Have you ever wondered why, in the year 2026, we are still talking about injustice and inequality? It feels like one of those software updates that never quite finishes installing. We see the progress bar, it gets to 99%, and then it just hangs there, frozen. The problem is that the deep-seated issues of the past were never fully addressed. They were simply covered up with a thin layer of good intentions and hopeful rhetoric. Think of it like a house with a cracked foundation. You can paint the walls, buy new furniture, and even fix the leaky roof. But if you don't repair that fundamental crack, the whole structure will remain unstable and at risk of collapse. That is what we are seeing today. The old cracks in our societal foundation are showing through the fresh paint. The persistence of these problems, especially against black people, is not an accident or a glitch in the system. In many ways, it is the system working exactly as it was designed centuries ago. These systems were built on a hierarchy, with one group at the top and others placed in descending order below. Even after the most obvious forms of oppression, like slavery and colonialism, were officially abolished, the underlying mindset and structures remained. The rules of the game were changed just enough to give the appearance of fairness, but the playing field was never truly leveled. It's like telling someone they can now join the race, but they have to start a mile behind everyone else, with no shoes and uphill. The outcome is predictable, yet we are told the race is fair. This lingering inequality is a heavy inheritance, passed down from one generation to the next. It's not just about historical events, it's about the continuing consequences of those events. The wealth, opportunities, and social connections that were denied to black communities for hundreds of years didn't just magically appear when new laws were passed. That disadvantage accumulated over time, creating a massive gap that affects everything from family wealth to access to quality education. It's a debt that has been accruing interest for centuries, and society has been trying to pay it off with pocket change. The scale of the problem is immense, yet the solutions offered are often frustratingly small and symbolic. So when we see protests and hear calls for justice, it's not because people are stuck in the past. It's because the past is very much stuck in the present. The injustices of today are the echoes of old wounds that were never allowed to heal properly. They were bandaged without being cleaned, leading to a deep and persistent infection that continues to flare up. To truly move forward, we have to stop just changing the bandages and finally address the source of the wound. It requires a brave and honest look at the foundation of our societies and a commitment to doing the hard work of rebuilding it on principles of genuine equality and justice for every single person. One of the most frustrating parts of this ongoing struggle is what I like to call the sorry, not sorry approach. We see leaders and institutions offer grand apologies for the horrors of the past. They'll build a statue, rename a street, or hold a solemn ceremony to commemorate a historical injustice. These gestures are often presented with great fanfare, as if they are the final chapter in a long, dark story. But more often than not, they are empty words, carefully crafted to soothe public anger without requiring any real substantive change. It's like a partner who keeps cheating on you, and every time you catch them, they buy you flowers and say, "I'm so sorry, it will never happen again." The flowers are nice, but they don't fix the underlying problem of infidelity. These symbolic acts create an illusion of progress that can be more dangerous than inaction. They allow those in power to pat themselves on the back and declare the problem solved, silencing further calls for change. "We apologized. What more do you want?" becomes the defensive cry. This performance of remorse is a clever tactic to manage public relations rather than to enact genuine reconciliation. True reconciliation requires repair. It demands that you not only acknowledge the harm you caused, but also take concrete steps to fix the damage. If you burn down someone's house, a heartfelt apology is a good start, but you also need to help them rebuild it. Without that commitment to repair, the apology is just hot air. Think about it. Corporations that benefited from slave labor will put out a statement for Black History Month, and governments that enforced segregation will fund a museum exhibit about the civil rights movement. While awareness and remembrance are important, they become hollow if the same institutions continue to uphold systems that perpetuate inequality. They are essentially saying, We feel very bad about what our predecessors did to your great-grandparents, but we are not going to change the policies that are hurting you and your children today. It's a way of outsourcing the responsibility to the past, absolving themselves of any duty to act in the present. This performance of progress is a powerful anesthetic. It numbs the collective conscience and makes it easier to ignore the persistent pain of inequality. When a society accepts these symbolic gestures as sufficient, it loses the urgency to pursue real justice. People are lulled into a false sense of security, believing that the arc of the moral universe is bending toward justice on its own, without any need for them to help pull it. But justice is not a self-driving car. It requires people in the driver's seat, with their foot on the gas, demanding to go in the right direction. We must learn to see past the empty apologies and demand the kind of change that can be measured not in press releases, but in people's lives. When we talk about injustice, it's not always as dramatic as a villain in a movie. Often it's a far more subtle and tangled web of rules, practices, and attitudes that have become woven into the fabric of our daily lives. This is what we mean by systemic racism, and it affects nearly every aspect of society, from the cradle to the grave. Let's start with jobs. Two candidates with identical resumes might apply for the same position. Studies have repeatedly shown that the one with a white-sounding name is more likely to get a call back than the one with a black-sounding name. This isn't necessarily because the hiring manager is an overt racist. It's because of unconscious biases that have been programmed into us by a society that has long associated success and competence with whiteness. The same insidious patterns appear in housing. For decades, official policies like redlining explicitly prevented black families from getting mortgages in desirable neighborhoods, forcing them into under-resourced areas. While redlining is now illegal, its legacy endures. Neighborhoods remain segregated, property values are vastly different, and access to good schools, safe parks, and even grocery stores with fresh produce is determined by your zip code. This isn't ancient history. A family's ability to build wealth through home ownership, a cornerstone of the middle class, is still being hampered by the ghosts of these discriminatory policies. It's a rigged game where the starting positions were set generations ago. Then there's healthcare, where the disparities are literally a matter of life and death. Black patients, particularly black women, consistently report that their pain and symptoms are dismissed or downplayed by medical professionals. This leads to later diagnoses, poorer treatment outcomes, and shockingly high maternal mortality rates. Again, this isn't always about a doctor with malicious intent. It's the result of a medical system that has historically used white men as the default for research and has been influenced by centuries-old, false beliefs about biological differences between races. Your chances of survival should not depend on whether your doctor takes your suffering seriously, yet for many, that is the reality. Finally, we see it in education. Schools in predominantly black neighborhoods are often underfunded compared to those in wealthier, whiter districts. They have fewer resources, larger class sizes, and less experienced teachers. Students are expected to achieve the same results with a fraction of the support. This sets up a cycle of disadvantage before a child has even had a chance to discover their potential. The system creates an achievement gap and then blames the students for it. Each of these areas, jobs, housing, healthcare, and education, is interconnected, creating a powerful web that traps people in a cycle of inequality. It's a system that is incredibly effective at maintaining the status quo. One of the most brilliant and sinister tricks ever played on humanity is the invention of race as a tool for division. It's a social construct, a made-up story, but it has had devastatingly real consequences. The primary purpose of this story has always been to distract the masses from the real sources of their problems. When people are struggling, when they can't pay their bills, feel unsafe, or see their opportunities dwindling, it is much easier for those in power to give them a scapegoat than to fix the underlying issues. And for centuries, that scapegoat has been people who look different. It's a classic move of misdirection, like a magician waving one hand to draw your attention, while the other hand performs the trick. The real culprits behind so much of the world's suffering are not our neighbors with different skin tones. The real culprits are timeless human vices, greed, jealousy, and an insatiable hunger for power. A tiny fraction of the population controls a vast majority of the world's wealth and resources. To maintain this imbalance, they need the rest of us to be busy fighting amongst ourselves. They pit the poor white worker against the poor black worker, telling each of them that the other is the reason for their hardship. While we are squabbling over the crumbs that fall from the table, they are feasting on the entire meal, and we don't even notice. This strategy of divide and conquer is as old as empires. By creating an us versus them mentality based on something as arbitrary as skin color, the system ensures that people will not unite to challenge the real power structures. They focus their anger and frustration downwards or sideways, at other marginalized groups instead of upwards, at the systems and individuals who benefit from their struggle. It's an incredibly effective way to protect the status quo. People who should be natural allies in the fight for economic justice, fair wages, and a better quality of life are instead turned into bitter rivals, suspicious and resentful of one another. Therefore, understanding that race is a manufactured distraction is a crucial step toward liberation. It allows us to see past the noise and identify the real game being played. The problem isn't the person from a different background who is competing for the same scarce resources. The problem is the scarcity of the resources itself, which is often an artificial scarcity created by hoarding and greed. When we stop letting the story of race divide us, we can start asking the right questions. Why are resources so unevenly distributed? Who benefits from our division? And what would happen if we all stood together and demanded our fair share? In the midst of all this division and conflict, it is vital that we hold on to a fundamental truth. We are all one human family. If you trace our ancestry back far enough, we all come from the same place. Science and genetics have proven this time and time again. The superficial differences in our appearance, like skin color, hair texture, or the shape of our eyes, are just minor variations that developed over millennia as our ancestors adapted to different environments. They are no more significant than the different colors of flowers in the same garden. We have been conditioned to see these differences as profound and meaningful. But in the grand scheme of things, we are 99.9% genetically identical. We are one people, one blood. This world, this beautiful and fragile planet, does not belong to any single nation, corporation, or race. It is our collective inheritance and our shared home. The borders on our maps are just lines drawn by people, often as a result of conflict and conquest. The earth itself doesn't recognize them. The sun shines on everyone, the rain falls on every land, and the air we breathe is shared by all. To believe that one group has more of a right to this planet than another is not only morally wrong, it is logically absurd. We are all temporary residents here, and we have a shared responsibility to take care of our home and each other. Remembering our shared humanity is the antidote to the poison of division. When we see others not as competitors or threats, but as our distant cousins, our entire perspective changes. It becomes harder to accept injustice against them, because it feels like an injustice against our own family. Empathy becomes our natural response. This doesn't mean we ignore the unique histories and struggles of different groups. On the contrary, acknowledging our shared humanity makes us more capable of understanding and honoring those diverse experiences. It allows us to say, your pain is my pain, because your humanity is my humanity. This realization is the foundation for true unity. It moves us beyond mere tolerance and toward genuine solidarity. Tolerance is passive, it means putting up with someone's existence. Solidarity is active, it means standing with them in their struggle for dignity and rights. When we embrace the fact that we are all part of one interconnected family, living on one shared planet, the artificial divisions created to control us begin to lose their power. We start to see that our destinies are intertwined, and that none of us are truly free until all of us are free. This is not a naive, utopian dream. It is the most practical and necessary understanding for our survival and progress. So, where do we go from here? Acknowledging the problem is the first step, but it is not enough. The path forward requires a powerful combination of unity, peaceful action, and unwavering hope. Unity is our greatest strength. The systems of injustice thrive on our division, so our coming together is their greatest threat. This unity must cross the lines of race, class, and nationality that have been drawn to keep us apart. It means listening to each other, learning from each other's experiences, and recognizing that our struggles for justice are linked. When people of all backgrounds stand together to demand change, their collective voice becomes a roar that cannot be ignored. This unity must be channeled into sustained, peaceful action. Change rarely comes from politely asking for it. History shows us that it comes when ordinary people organize, mobilize, and apply pressure to the structures of power. This can take many forms: peaceful protests in the streets, boycotts of corporations that profit from inequality, voter registration drives to elect leaders who represent our values, and community organizing to build local power and support networks. It's about being consistently engaged, not just when a tragedy makes the headlines. It is the steady, relentless pressure of a river that eventually carves its way through the hardest stone. Throughout this long and often difficult struggle, we must hold on to hope. Hope is not a passive wish that things will get better on their own. Hope is an active conviction. It is the belief that a better world is possible and the resolve to work toward it, even when the odds seem stacked against us. It is the fuel that keeps us going when we feel tired and discouraged. Despair leads to inaction, which only serves the status quo. Hope, on the other hand, inspires creativity, resilience, and courage. It allows us to envision a future where equal rights and justice are not just ideals we talk about, but the lived reality for every person. The journey toward a just world is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be setbacks, and there will be moments of frustration. But we are not the first to walk this path, and we will not be the last. We draw strength from the generations who fought before us, and we build a better road for the generations who will come after. The call is for real, structural change, for systems that are redesigned to serve everyone, not just a select few. The call is for a world where every child can grow up with dignity, opportunity, and the freedom to reach their full potential. Let us unite, let us act, and let us hold on to the audacious hope that we can and will create that world together,